shut Wales up because I know there's not the financial thing, but I think it should be money at the top end, but we're very parochial. Tribal in a way, and they're not going to go and join these. It's been almost 20 years that they've had these.
2003, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the crowds are still poor, aren't
they? And the thing,
it's not a good product either, I don't think, when I watch it.
Great for Team Wales.
Yeah. But it is Team Wales. I think that's all the WA looking at.
Yeah, and then you go across the bridge and it's not Team England, it's club first, then England second.
Well, that's how it should be, and that's all we was. When I come through the ranks as a kid, it was all about trying to play for Bridgend and go in there, and that was your big club. And then if you're lucky enough, you get in Wales A, then you go on Wales. There's no conveyor belt. It's either parachuted in. Oh, by the way, you play for the Ospreys. Do I have to play for them?
Yeah.
It appears that way. And I remember when Bridgend were actually going to get relegated, and it was around the time when I got shysted a bit, and I went down to play for Bridgend, and they paid me a couple of quid, I'll be honest with you, I was a pro. And they said, can you come and help us? I didn't have a club, and I was looking for a club. I think I went to Cardiff just after that.
Yeah.
Some of the guys from the feeder club, from the region, which was obviously the Ospreys at the time, come down, and they didn't want to play, and it was for Bridgend's survival in the Premiership or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit. It didn't mean anything. It was like, I think we were playing Abraham with it in Bridgend, and honestly, it was Cross Keys first up there, and then it was Abraham, I think, in Bridgend, and it was like as though they didn't care, like. And it was, to me, I was thinking, youngsters, you should be showing what you can do here to go on to that. It doesn't appear that way to me.
It's mad. I've got mates who play at loads of the Prem clubs and loads of the regions, and like, I don't know, I say to some of them, like, what's it like for kids coming through now? And like, some of these kids coming through, it's not like football money, but like they're on such decent money, like they see it as a step down. Where I suppose 20 years ago, it was like Bridgend, Newport, Ponty, like, if you could get a Ponty team that...
Big teams, yeah.
Oh, mate, and like, I remember seeing like...
as well, you could have Neath, you'd have a kick in, you'd have a really tough old game down there, like. And
like, the whole place would go fill out and watch it, and I suppose there's a couple of things around that, which obviously today's not really about, but there's so much more to do now for kids. Football seems to have gone like that through the roof. Rugby hasn't. Streaming services, mobile phones, social media. There's just so much more for kids to do now. Where back then it was supposed probably a bit more family orientated. You go with your dad, you go with your granddad. You'd play in the morning, you go and watch in the afternoon or something like that. I don't know. Just a bit of a different time, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think it is difficult because, everything has, you are spoiled for choices, but, for a prime example, I'm coaching, helping out with the football team tonight. I don't do anything with rugby, don't know why. Helping out with the football team, under 15s, under 14s. And they train from 8 o'clock till 9 on a school pitch. They're kicking you off the field. And it's one of these 4G fields. Every clambering to get spaces and whatever. And lo and behold, you can't get on there. And you just, and you think, well, and that's football. But then you look at the rugby. I went down to Bridgend Sports at one stage, helping out because my kids had a little run around with the athletic and the sports and all that. And it was on that little shitey cabbage patch in Newbridge Fields. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Geez, dog shit alley, and 3 balls, 1 tackle bag, and 15 kids, and they were all just rolling around in mud. And I was thinking, and then you could see people just going, "What the hell are we doing now?"
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, if you're not going to evolve the game, I know Team Wales, and you've got all the facilities and all the razzmatazz, and we'll chuck everything at it, but it's all about the conveyor belt. It's all about the ground, and it's dire. It is dire.
I don't know what the answers are, to be honest, and I'm sure there's people far more qualified than me that will try and sort it out. But
yeah, it's sad really, because when I was growing up as a kid and stuff, that was you'd love to go, and you are right. I think there's so much you're spoiled for choice, so now you really got to go to town with the facilities. You've got to get the multi-purpose fields. I don't like playing on the multi-purpose fields. I got to be honest. I think for training and everything, brilliant.
Yeah.
For playing games, it's not the same for me, and that's how people get injured and all these burns and all this nonsense. But
yeah,
it's massive for these kids. Well, why would they want to go out in the rain and the shit, roll around in the crap, and they're going, I can play on my PlayStation against my mates in the dry, in the warm. My mum and dad don't bother me. I'm up in my bedroom. I was never allowed to do it. I was like, out you go, off you go.
Yeah, same.
They can do it. Now, when you see loads of kids and you go in, it's really bad. Yeah. It's really bad. And you talk about obesity and all these sort of things, and you're thinking, well, because you got, and these things, probably the worst thing that's ever been made, really, because they're all on them.
Yeah.
All the time, like, good thing and a bad thing, but I just, they don't interact with people much more now. Kids say please and thank you, like, you give them a ball and it didn't even acknowledge you. It's like, oh, bloody. Just me, it's my pet hate. It's just simple things, like, you know what I mean? That's life, isn't it? Talking, please, thank yous.
Yeah.
It's not. It don't cost it, is it?
My old dear would have given me a clip round the ear, mate.
Well, no, I'm exactly the same. When I bring my kids up the same, you say please and thank you, and it's just manners. And you got to you see kids, you kick a ball back, they don't even acknowledge you, and you think you cheated. Shit, like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You do. I get really, I know what you mean. Man, like, I get like Victor Andrew and that, like, crazy shit.
Class. Hey, let's get stuck into it while we were already there. Mate, great opening. Look, episode 112, Catflap Chats. I'm here with former Wales international Lion, played in Wales in both the club game and the regional game and across the bridge for Harlequins. You played a little stint at Sale at the end, towards the end as well.
I did in the end, yeah. I was up in Sale Sharks, for a short spell. Yeah, very short. Yeah. I was right at the end,
Mr. Dafydd James.
Hello.
Welcome on board. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks.
How are things? What's life like at the moment? You're just on about obviously coaching them, but what is the world like for you at the moment?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there. I will be doing a documentary actually over the next week or so with Phil Steele on BBC, but about life after rugby. But it's tough. I'm not going to pull no punches. It's been exceptionally hard trying to find my feet, and I'm not in coaching for that's a contentious issue. Not through my own means. I would have liked to have gone down that road. Been in the corporate world and then find it hard to find my feet, really. I think, at the age of 46, I'm just looking around and thinking, what the hell's happened, really? But it is quite tough. I'm involved with a little bit of health and fitness, obviously a passion of mine. I do just finished a nutrition diploma, and I just try to help people out. I do a lot of stuff for mental health, but you still got to pay your bills. You know what I mean? So it's quite tough out there.
And you've been quite vocal. You can go into this as little or as much as you want about your struggles and what you've been through. But I know you have been quite vocal on the basis that it might help someone else with your dark thoughts and things that have happened. Like, are you okay? Like, you've got your coping mechanisms. Are you finding your way through it? Like, be as open or be as closed as you want around that.
I struggle daily, to be quite honest with you. I think it has been seen as a taboo issue. With the way it was brought to everybody's attention, if you like, for want of a better word, that I was battling was by chance. That was a BBC program, I think it was, and once again, I think it was about after rugby, and someone that must have mentioned I was struggling, but. I don't do it for, pats on the back. I don't do it for, for people to feel sorry for me. I do it purely to try and help other people out. And apparently it has helped a number of other people. A profile, if you like, because I'm not an egotistical guy, come out and say they struggle. I do, and yeah, look, I'm quite open and honest. I've had suicidal thoughts. I've gone to do several things, and I'm finding it hard on a daily basis to check myself back in. Like before I come onto the show now, people possibly are listening to this and probably go, yeah, this is him. I've had to train just to tick a box. I go get a little bit obsessed by stuff. I got that sort of obsessive compulsive sort of way about me, but I think it helps me. It's one of the boxes I need to tick to have a purpose, have a focus and a drive. And yeah, it's been hard. It's difficult. It's difficult for people close to me to see. And, before Christmas, I had a real big low. And yeah, look, I'm lucky that I'm probably sat here talking to you if I'm truthful. So it's tough. It's out there. But for me, I find it's quite rewarding in the sense of if I can pass on something and it helps someone else. And, I do talks. I'm doing one for Lloyd's this week. I don't enjoy doing it. It's hard to explain. For me, I can help other people, but trying to help myself, I find it very, very difficult. So look, and if it does help someone else who may be battling a little bit, then I think it's good and it's important. And look, I had a mate text me last night that someone else close to him has taken their own life, and you shouldn't get to that stage. However, I know what it feels like, unfortunately, and it's awful, it's tough, and it's happening on a daily basis. That's a bit heavy, that is it?
No. Look, do you know what, right? As I said to you earlier, I love the openness of it because I've had people message me. Like my life hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. I can understand a lot of what you've just said there, and we've had guests on before. Josh Llewellyn-Jones, Reece Thomas, he's doing great stuff now around that space, and more people need to hear it because they're not alone. So I love the fact that you've just been so open and candid so early in the podcast, because it shouldn't be taboo. Like, it's not just a tick box to let's talk about it, right, off we go now. Yeah. Like, it's a genuine thing in our society at the moment that we need to address, and the more that's said, the more talks that you can do with Lloyd's, because because you were and maybe still are people's heroes. Like, you were at the top of the world with the Lions. So for someone, not necessarily me, but for someone who's listening to this, go, fuck, I remember watching those Lions tests, and now I'm hearing and seeing this, and I've actually been through the same, and he's still battling every day, might give them the motivation to go, right, I'm going to go and get that gym session done. I'm going to go and get this done. I'm going to go and pave a way for me to help myself live a better life each day. And I think that's really powerful.
Well, that's what I like. I had a charity reach out to me in Wales called Dafydd. They were for addiction, alcohol abuse, and depression, and schizophrenia and stuff. And look, they reached out to me, and unfortunately, I've not had a massive amount of support. The public are out there, and the obviously the tweets and whatever. But these guys helped me a little bit, and I got someone that checks in on me on a daily basis, and
nice.
I know that people say that reach out to people, just let them know you're there and whatever, and it's important because when you get caught in the melee of life and the stresses and things happen, which they do, all of us have got something. All of us or will have, over a certain period of time, from bereavements to divorces, financial sort of implications to childhood experiences, whatever it may be, or PTSD or whatever. And I think when people, it may seem quite small to someone else, your issues, but they're your issues nonetheless. And it affects individuals differently, and you can't be judgmental of people because, and I understand that, having experienced it, I am experiencing it, different things from time to time, and it can be lonely, it can be hard and difficult, and unfortunately, your whole perspective changes as an individual, and you stop trusting people, you stop, you isolate yourself, you become a bit more reclusive because, there's a lot of people that can, BS you and all this and rub your ego and all this sort of stuff, but really, have they really got your back? And that's where I find it difficulty. I'm straight-laced, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's how I'm so candid about talking about this thing. It's not a little fad or something that goes away. I don't think it ever goes away. It's how you control it, how you manage it, and like I say, with the nutrition and fitness stuff I do, I'm passionate about it. It's what I do, but it helps. It's one or two little things. It's not the full holistic program. However, it is proven your health and your nutrition, your fitness, keeping mobile, doing different things does aid that sort of thing. Like you talked about Rhys Thomas there, I know he had his demons with his drinking. He was obviously hiding things, which, he was dealing with himself, and I know he went through some health sort of complications as well. So listen, people deal with things in different ways. And I think, like I said, what may be small to someone may be massive to someone else. So it's about having that understanding, and it's not one shoe fits all. It's a holistic approach. And there are people out there who will listen, who will talk. I've just become like an ambassador, if you like.
Yeah.
And, that's the only joy, apart from my two sons, that I get in life at the moment. I know that sounds quite sad, and thing it is. I struggle. I seldom find much joy at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to answer this. You can say no, and it's not a problem, right? Why can't you coach or do some of the things that you want to do in Wales? And if it's not in Wales, why not in England?
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's difficult because you had Phil Davis on the other week, and while my career was, I was still going well and everything was there, and I had another goal that was to get to the Lions again and whatever and get over 50 caps, but things happen, and that's okay. But my career path was set out, and I was going to be a conditioning coach for the Scarlets. I am a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. It was going to be Stephen Jones and Simon Easterby in the back, forwards coach and the backs coach, respectively. And then I was going to be a conditioning coach, but one thing led to another, and I found myself in limbo, shall we say, and my whole world fell apart, and several other things in my life happened.
Yeah, okay.
And it just escalated, and I am a qualified level 2. I probably need to do a level 3. I'm an SAQ coach. I'm speed and agility and quick burst. People weren't quite sure what that means, but like I said, I'm a strength and conditioning coach as well. But I just find it hard then post these sort of things without going into legal sort of wranglings.
Yeah.
And I've had to go in the corporate world, and life's been quite challenging, really, because you've got to start all over again. Your career's over at a certain age in your 30s, and life still goes on. And it can be quite lonely, hard, and and I'll be quite honest. I am like I wear my heart on my sleeve. There's been no support at all.
And on that, 10 years, 12 years on, however long it was since you finished now.
Yeah.
Those opportunities. You said you're 46. Like, do you know if things are different now for players who might be finishing in this, say, like this year, next year, they're finishing over the next year, whether it's via their own means or injury or whatever that might be? Do you know if things are better for them now, or is it still the same and more needs to be done?
It's an interesting one, really. I think I'm not there at the moment, so I can't comment. I can only talk from an outside perspective, but I would say it seems to me as more of a tick box exercise and people loading onto jobs and whatever. I may be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But from my experience, I think, however, this trying to put things in place, I think the RPA are a little bit more proactive. I think that's the benchmark, that's the blueprint. Yeah. I don't want to be too scathing of down here, because I'm not in the circle, so I'm only looking from an outside perspective, and I can only tell you what could happen from my own experiences. And there may be that there is talk about career progression post professional environment, post sporting environment, but I do see a lot of players who aren't receptive to that, as well. And I think that the onus has got to be on the club, and that's got to be mandatory, as opposed to, no, I'll go and see this guy or this lady, and they'll talk you through your career path like you used to in school, a careers advisor.
Yeah.
Do we ever know what the hell we're going to do at 15, 16 years old? I still don't know what I'm going to do now. But how you expect kids to know what they're going to do, I don't know. But I think it's, there are opportunities, but, such is when money comes into any sporting environment, are they just looking after the money? Because, unfortunately, I think one of the boys used to say to me, we're just pieces of meat. Once your time's up, you're off, and then it's the next one. It's a conveyor belt. And I think the players have got to take onus on themselves. That's first and foremost, and, come and be a little bit grounded, because some of the money that's flying around for these young lads is great. And I'm not knocking anybody, because you're one injury away from good night, Irene, really. Yeah. So take what you can, but I think it's about having that advice and, the structure, because it's all well and good living on the high life, the crest of the wave. But when the wave just stops and you're swimming around and you're caught in a riptide, and you're thinking, oh, hang on now, I'm swallowed up here. And it can be a difficult thing to deal with. And like I said, it's hard for me to actually comment on these guys at the moment, because I don't know the full ins and outs. However, from my experience, it wasn't.
Yeah, I get that. What do you think now? And I hope this is positive, but if it's not, be brutally honest. What do you think now when you look back? You might be watching rugby at the weekend, and they might show one of your old tries at a Heineken Cup or something like that. What do you think? How do you remember your career? Do you remember it fondly? Does it make you smile, pride, or sad that it's over? Like, what's the feelings there?
I'm sad emotionally on a regular basis. I get angry purely because I didn't have an opportunity to bow out and say thanks very much, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I've never had that opportunity to do that. And I didn't think I deserved to be treated like that. But, it's not, dwell in that. But look, it's a sense of achievement, of pride. I think it's more so, I hate watching myself. I think I could have done so many different things, and I'm very critical on myself now, and I should have done this, and I should have, and I find it quite hard. Yes, I love the big games, Heineken Cup, and that was my little go-to, and the world stage, the big stage. I just love the big games. That was me. That's what you dream of. That's what I visualized. I got in there, and with me, when I reflect back, and sometimes my kids see stuff and they're like, wow, because they were so young, my two boys, they're now 16 and 14, they wouldn't have really seen much of my stuff. And at the time, there wasn't loads of social media, so you go into archives sort of thing. There's one or two clips, but there's nothing, like you get today, and you got 200,000 followers or something or other. It's a totally different world today. And and I said there, and all the social media sort of stuff, and you could be a YouTuber and God knows what, but I made millions. But for me, I do find it hard. I get quite critical of myself. I should have done that. Look at the way I'm running there, and I do. It's the same when I'm, people say, oh, do you watch yourself back on the telly when you've done an interview or something? No, I hate it really. I get annoyed with myself. It's really odd, because I get really frustrated with my voice. I'm just probably too critical on every aspect, because I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. And maybe that's not a realistic benchmark. I don't know. But in my mind, that was it. I always set the bar high, and I would have blocks. That's why I'd done a load of mental preparation. Like Phil probably talked about NLP and all this sort of stuff. I was big with him with all that. And taking something conscious to your subconscious and being in the moment and the zone, and then having trigger words and all this sort of stuff. But I didn't have time to switch off. I was living in it, like Johnny Wilkinson kicking the ball over and over and over, repetitive. My mind when I was playing was rugby. And people said, yeah, you overtrained. No, I didn't overtrain. I would have done everything exactly the same amount of time. But with the knowledge I know now, I would have changed different aspects of what I was doing in there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like from the types of eating to, the type of training you were doing to different things, really. Probably more ice baths, and I bloody hated ice baths, but, and all that sort of nonsense, really. But, all I could do now is just, for my young boys, they're mad on football. They could play rugby, and they could be very good. They swimming and stuff like that. They're very active, and just be there for them, really. Yeah, so answer your question. I know I've gone around about the houses here, but it's a matter of, for me, I'm not really, I suppose I am proud, but I don't sit back and go, yeah, look at me, I'm this, that, and that. I can't do that.
No, but you're also allowed to, like, I think, and I don't know you well at all, right? So for anyone listening, like, we're not potentially close. We're not friends outside of this.
I thought you were.
But like, this isn't like someone I've known for 5, 6, 7 years that we're chatting now, right? But just looking at it from the outside in, I feel like, and it'd be interesting to know if you felt like this back then as well. 29 Heineken Cup tries. You're up there with the top try scorers in the game ever, right? You played in the 2001 Lions, all 3 tests, and scored. So not everyone gets to be a Lion, let alone a test Lion, let alone score a try. You played in Rugby World Cups. You've, won countless things. The Ponty Battle of Brive, the stories that you can talk about, right? People, the majority of people only get to see that on a screen, or if they're lucky, potentially at stadiums, right? So I personally think, and I watched your highlight clip yesterday. There's 1 or 2 on YouTube, and I watched one. And I remember the old Heineken Cup ball, the Adidas white and green ones. I loved that ball. So I played 12 growing up. So like, I managed to get one of those because one of the boys was a pro. I used to love smashing them about. They were class.
Yeah, they were, weren't they? Yeah.
Digress, right? But they were. But like, to see some of those tries, like, you weren't just there to make up the numbers. And I feel like, I hope one day you can look back on it with real fondness, because I feel you deserve that for what you've achieved in your career. It is a million times more than most of us ever achieve on a pitch. And it's, I'll be interested to know if you felt like that when you were playing as well, or were you in a different mindset then and it wasn't quite as intense for you in terms of the negative feelings?
Yeah, good question, really. But when I was playing, I always, I didn't do that right. So I can go through the game, for argument's sake, hypothetical, 10 good points, 1 bad point, and I reflect on the bad point more. I could have had the match or whatever, different facets of the game, and I've won, and the one negative will play on me. And look, I'm a heavy guy, and I was an aggressive person on the field because that was my mindset, and that's the way I was brought up. And I wouldn't ever change that for the world. People get perception of you on the field, and that's not really you as a person. But it's a game. It's all about getting the upper arm on your opposite number and performing and doing it. But yeah, did I get down on myself? Yeah, I would get down on myself quite a lot. If I could look back, if I could go back to that time now, would I change loads of things? Probably 1 or 2 things I would have changed. And, and it's not a reflection on the clubs I went to, I probably wouldn't have done 1 or 2 things I did. I was just caught up in emotion. I was just caught up in this is unreal. But from playing, I was always very, very critical of myself, and I always went to a club and performed, and I could stand by that, and I did go into a club and perform, and I put my heart and soul into every club I went to. Sometimes it didn't work, because, you know, the dynamics, you need to get into the swing of things and whatever, for whatever reasons. But was I intense, and could I reflect back? I was probably quite hard on myself, really. I was never a big boozer, you know, I just lived and breathed the game. I was just loving it. You know, the big occasions, that was, you know, I just love it. The Heineken Cup, as it was now, is the Champions Heineken Cup or whatever it's called now, that was my, whoa, this is what it's all about. You're on the European stage now. This is the focal point, and, you know, not playing so much the Ospreys or Cardiff where everybody's trying to kick each other's heads in and all that sort of stuff, but, you know, bragging rights and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
It's all like, right, we're going to go play against some of the best teams in Europe, or, you know, Toulouse, possibly the world, or whatever they were at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would get down on myself. I just love scoring. I just love scoring. I love creating tries and bigots and things like that. That's where I get my buzz. But would I enjoy? I probably didn't enjoy enough.
No,
not at all. No.
Like
and that's hard. And I'm disappointing myself there. But, you know, I was just there. It was and it's true. My own man said it to me. He said, enjoy it, because you blink your eyes and it'll be gone. And lo and behold, it was. Yeah. I think it was. And,
you're not the only one there, I think. You know, I think Sam Warburton was on Good Bad Rugby podcast the other week, or a couple of months ago. And he said, like, I think he wished he would have just enjoyed the moment more. He was so ingrained in training, captaincy, everything else. Yeah. Probably forgot to just enjoy it a little bit more, which I've never been.
Though.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I've never been at that level, so I don't know how easy that is to do within the realms of being a professional. But, you know, that 2001 Lions tour, like, it was the first Lions tour I remember properly. I remember I loved watching it, but I was a kid, you know, what was I don't know, 16, 18, 16 then maybe. So I had no clue about the world or whatever. But listening to you now, like, it pains me that you might potentially not have enjoyed what should have been, I would have guessed, the pinnacle of your career, or the best days of your rugby career, from a touring point of view, from a representation point of view, you know, with some of your Welsh teammates, but the best of the other countries that you kick each other in a February and an autumn, but then you're all hugging and having a beer on that tour. Like, I don't know, it just baffles me a bit.
Yeah, no, and that's possibly some of the hang-ups I've got. And yeah, look, I don't know, it's easy to reflect, isn't it, and look back and go, yeah, I should have enjoyed that a bit more than I did, and whatever. Don't get me wrong, I was immensely proud of the various achievements. You know, I went through a bad injury in I think it was 2002 post Lions, and I had a nerve injury, and it was hard. And I think when you talk about the downside, I think I was really down. I was playing with the Celtic Warriors. They were forcing me to play the better at the time was. Yeah. My shoulder was knackered. It was paralysed. My deltoid was paralysed. And, you know, I could have been seriously damaged, really. I was extremely low, because I like to feel on top of the ground, you know, everything there, doing my weights, doing my nutrition, embraced living in that. And all of a sudden you can't do certain things. And had a neural injury, and I went down bad inside, internally. I was getting forced to play. I couldn't put my full heart and soul into it. I just couldn't do it. I was going through emotions, because I was trying to protect myself. One bang on that at the time, and my arm was going to be paralyzed. And it was a difficult thing to do. And I can remember I ended up going up to a surgeon up in London, Princess Grace. It was Professor Rolf Birch. He was a neural sort of guy. And he operated on it, and within a couple of weeks or whatever, he started recovering. You could feel the spasming come in. If anybody's had any nerve injury, they'll relate to this. But, you know, I still got numbness in my arm, and my deltoid is wasted away on different aspects of it. And I recovered. I was only, lucky during that time when I was playing, when I wasn't 100% fit. And I don't think anybody's ever 100% fit after the first couple of games. And I was running on about 80, maybe even 70%. And you're going, shit, I'm in trouble. Sorry about that much, but
no, go on.
I'm in a bit of trouble here. But I had to protect myself. And I bought this contraption from American football, really, and I had to put it underneath a padded, I don't know if you can remember the padded vest we used to wear, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I had to put this contraption on, which was all elastic bands. The ref would never let me play. But I was getting, you're either going to play or your career's over. We're going to terminate your contract, So I had this contraption from American football, and it was basically to keep my shoulder in place. And I was like, I couldn't lift it. I know no one's going to see this, but yeah, I couldn't lift my arm laterally. And, I was trying to make tackles really, and I was just gripping people. And that was a very low point. And I think, when I've had moments, I think I didn't realize at the time, but I was severely down. I was depressed. I was really depressed. I was stressed. And you just get on with it. I'm from a reason, working class background. It was pull yourself together, shape up, get on with it, And many a time I went walking up Margam Mountain and different thing with my dog, my other dog, and just in tears, and I'm thinking, bloody hell, what am I doing? And the sense of feeling I was letting everybody else down, I was letting myself down. But I was 26, 27 at the time, I think it was, and it was hard, and I couldn't perform as well as I could, and I got told, oh, you're never going to play again, and that drove me on in a weird way. You're never going to play for Wales again. Obviously, the Steve Hansen episode and whatever, that was another one that kicked off.
Yeah,
he took a dislike to me for whatever reason. I still don't know to this day why, but it is what it is. And so you fall out of favour, and I got told I would never play. I think it was on about 20 odd caps at the time, 3 Lions test or whatever, as you touched on. And one of my greatest moments, and I did have tears in the national anthem when I got picked to play again, because people told me I'd never play again. I think Mike Ruddock brought me back into the squad. It was the 2005, I remember now.
Yeah,
brought me back. Wales had just won the Grand Slam, and he brought me back in. I think we played South Africa, Australia in a centenary sort of game, if I remember rightly. And black jerseys. It was Drew Mitchell was on the wing. I was marking him. And I can remember having tears in my eyes, and I never get that patriotic. Anything, I'm not one of these people that's streaming regardless. I'm like, whoa. And I was like, hang on now, I got 78,000 people in here or whatever, and I proved people wrong that said I'd never do it. And that was probably, a sense for me of, whoa, have I changed my mindset then? And that was quite a moment I do reflect back on. And you said you remember loads of games. Some, I've had so many bangs, and there's another issue that's going on at the moment, head for change, all this sort of stuff. And I'm thinking, geez, I can remember so many different things, but then, like you took the Blues game away with the Scarlets, only 1 or 2 moments I can remember in there, but can you remember every game? I don't know. No, I can't.
It's a lot of information to process. Like you mentioned then, like you were out of favour with the Wales squad at times. Sorry.
That's all right.
Like, what was that like at the time for you to deal with? Because you weren't, for whatever reason, in the squad for 2003 World Cup, if I remember rightly, but you were in.
Yeah, they went to Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, that's right.
But you were in for 2007. You were in the 2001 Lions, but you didn't make the Lions, say, in 2005. You were playing for Wales around the Mike Ruddock time, but you weren't part of the Grand Slam squad. What was it about that in and out of like international squads? Because through your club career, you were banging in tries left, right, and centre, and you were playing for good clubs, and it wasn't like you were playing in the Championship or National 2 in France or whatever. Like you were playing for clubs at the top of their game, you know, Queens, Scarlet, so on, and banging in tries. So what was it about that, and how did you deal with it at the time? Obviously, you've got knowledge now that you might have dealt with it differently, but you know,
yeah. Look, I didn't deal with it very well. I'll be quite honest with you. You know, because you know what you can do, I suppose. You know, when you've reached the dizzy heights, and you know, well, I never took anything for granted. Don't get me wrong, and I always put the work in. I wouldn't just put my feet up and go on the booze with the boys, sort of thing. But or go back to your own town and get on it. But yeah, it was difficult. How would I deal with it? It was tough. It was really tough, and the media can be scathing and
yeah,
different things, and things were built up. And you know, I touched upon the Steve Hansen thing. You know, he just disliked me, and he took a dislike to a lot of people, and you know, he's more dictator in that regard, and I don't know why. It was, you know, I can't honestly tell you. I don't know whether that was his psychological sort of thing that he was trying to. But from my sort of take, is everybody's different. You know, some people need a push, some people need a cuddle, some people need just motivation. People are people, not one shoe fits all. It's a very much holistic thing. And then when you go into a team environment, there's so many different characters, and you've got to get the dynamics right, and how you deal with them people, and whether you need someone else in the middle to go, whoa, pull this boy in. He needs a coach. He needs building up, and it wasn't. It was, dare I say it, like a headmaster, you know, in that regard, and it's been well documented that a lot of people didn't like him, and it was in this Grand Slam thing, which I watched the other day, and people were telling me, yeah, you weren't the only one that didn't get on with him. You know, I did quite like him bringing in some different aspects of a, you know, a respect thing. I did agree with that, and I quite liked that, you know. However, I didn't agree with just two players cleaning the change room. I think everybody who's made the mess, clean it up and leave it as you found it, not two players, you know, which I like that, because hang on, boys, you don't go chucking your dirty pants on the floor and leave it there for your mother to pick up. You pick it up. You know what I mean? The boys just chucking paper and stuff on the floor, and you think, boys, there's a bin there. You know, as one of my pet hates, it's like, just put it in the bin. You know, and you know, some of the players not even seeing their families after games because they were cleaning the changing room, and it's like, well, you've all made a mess. It's all pulled together now. Take 10 minutes, bang, done, and we all go on block up to the up to the wives, the girlfriends, the mums and dads, whatever, and would enjoy the experience. And but he did bring in that thing, but you know, he took a dislike. You know, he kicked me out of the squad for, you know, breaking curfew. You know, look, I wasn't the only one that did that. There was 7 or 8 other players, and you know, I was vilified. But you know, if that's the rules, that's the rules. But you know, the way I was treated in that regard, which I can tell you again about, but you know, it was harsh. It was.
You were singled out when a load of others.
I was singled out.
People didn't make the meetings, let alone turn up on time.
Well, exactly. It was one guy there who was, you know, a friend of mine was ringing him. Another player, I won't mention the names, but I can unless you want to write a book, I'll write the names in there. But the you know, ringing one of the players who was in Cardiff, still in bed. This is before anybody's even got up in the morning for breakfast, and I'm walking to the hotel. And he just took a dislike, and you know, where have you been, and and I just froze. It was like, oh, I'm in the spotlight. No, I just been up to my car to get my computer because I can't sleep, and that's true. I can't sleep in hotels properly. It's like when you go to a different venue, you can't sleep properly. But and it was, you know, in Wales, a lot of the guys can get home in 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, we're not miles away, all of us. As long as you know, you're there, and I was always structured. Bang, I'm leaving this. So I've got to be early. I've got to be there for breakfast. So if anything's changed, bang, I'm there. And other players weren't even in the hotel. But you know, there was one player who stuck up for me, actually, Ben Evans. And Ben Evans was a prop, the tight end.
Yeah.
And he stuck up because he come in. I think he even crashed his car on the way back in. But nothing was said about that. You know what I mean? But he stuck up for me, and it was, you know, I respect him, and we have a laugh and a joke about that. And when I do speak to him, he's in Australia at the moment. Yeah, it was horrible, and to get singled out like that was tough. And I think Alfie said it on the Grand Slam. Someone told me that he was harshly treated by Steve Anson. I think that's not strictly true at all. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that. You didn't get vilified like me and kicked out the squad.
I think like the press at the time as well, I've got a lot to answer for the way that they
Yeah.
I mean, the press today as well. I know some. I don't know them well, but I see some good journalists. I don't know. Simon Thomas and Paul Williams, for example. I would say that I like what the majority of what they say, and they try and be positive about the game in general. But some of the press, media, journalists are horrific. And back then, like I watched Slams, and it showed like the back pages of various things, and there's just no need for it. Like you could win a one game. Go on.
Yeah, sorry to get in on you, and I agree wholeheartedly with that, because I experienced it and I see it with so many players. You put on a pedestal, whoa, he's next best thing, and and then one bad game or something goes wrong, boom, it comes all tumbling down, and everybody's reading it. In Wales, 3 million people and all this, whatever it's been circulated to, and it's hard. It's hard to deal with, and there's no need of it. I think if you're constructive, and if the players have a bad game, they know they've had a bad game.
Yeah, exactly.
They know, you know what I mean? So, and you go, no one goes out there to play bad. No one goes out there to play bad. It might be various issues. So I'm going to relate to that. Because I've had it, and my parents get involved. Then, have you read the paper? No, I won't read the paper.
Sod off.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I didn't have my best game. However, right, let's focus on the next one.
People, this is the thing that really winds me up, and I've said this on this pod. I've said it in person to people. That I've been out with players, and people have attacked them like, you can't move to France, you can't do this. And I've had this argument with people, right? It's a job, and you don't perform in your job every single day to 100%, because it's life. Like that is physically impossible to be 100% every single day of the year, no matter what, right? You will have a bad game. You might drop a ball for 1,000 different reasons. You might miss a tackle for whatever. Like, it happens. The same as I don't win every single pitch that I do for the agency that I work for, and I don't win every single client. I've made bad decisions thinking it might be the right decision. I've made bad decisions because things going on in my life, and I was in self-destruct mode. Like, it's part of living. But for some reason, people feel like because they watch you play rugby and you might be their idol or might play for their team that they support, they can put their ideas, their values, their criticism on you, and it's okay. Yeah, if they, if, I don't know, Di Jenkins, who works in a recruitment firm down in Cardiff, for example, imagine every single day of his working life was vilified on social media or in the press.
Oh, exactly. And
everyone would soon start being fucking nicer to each other.
Oh, they would, and that's the problem. And funny enough, when I have done these talks about mental health and health and well-being and different things, it's about, you can't operate at 100% every day. It just doesn't happen. And in professional sport, it doesn't happen.
No.
You have tapering, and you think from a scientific standpoint, you're going to have your downtime. You're going to have your downtime, come away. And at various times in my career, if I were to look back, the Steve Anson sort of era, it was so intense. And international rugby should be intense, but it's got to be a balance. But it was so, you're going in at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're not finishing till 4. It's not a normal day's work. It's not a normal day's work. It's not.
Yeah.
And you're only there for a certain amount of time, as in your career. And I think you've got to get that structure. And what I quite liked about Phil Davis, he did, I know he was on your podcast, a good friend of mine, his structuring, his attention to detail was impeccable. It was in fairness, and I'm not trying to push his backside, but he was how he'd structure it. Right, hang on, this player's worked so hard now. Let's give him an extra day off. Yeah, it needs the cool head. We need to block off, or 3 days. Yeah, we're going down to the spa or whatever on block as a team. Yeah, no, and that's what sport is about. And when you say, yeah, how is it applicable to industry or the corporate world? Well, you can't operate. You've got to have the time where you can just take a step back. You can't be getting berated every day, micromanaged, and expect to perform every day. And it's not going to happen. And that's why a lot of people are finding it very difficult. They're getting stressed, they're getting depressed, they're getting lots of anxiety when they're doing presentations, and that's not their remit normally. And all of a sudden they've got to go and present to 300 people. And, life becomes a challenge. And, it's horses for courses, isn't it? Really. And I think you've got to look after yourself in that regard. And, in the corporate world, money doesn't stop. It's all money driven. So it's, how do you get the best out of your staff? And if your staff aren't performing, you've got to reassess yourself and say, well, why aren't they performing, and change environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we shoot off, I'd like to say, firstly, just thank you, I suppose, more than anything.
Well, yeah.
No, look, I've got loads of notes down here written, I've got page notes all about the rugby, and the fact we've hardly spoken about the rugby, I've really liked, actually.
Sorry if I've gone
off
stuff. Sorry. Yeah.
No, got to know you as a person better, because I've seen the games and I've watched you on the pitch, but getting to know you off the pitch has been fascinating, a bit better. And I will say that again, who am I to pass judgment or anything here, but your mental resilience must be far better than you give yourself credit for, because someone who can do 31 marathons in 31 days in January last year, that is fucking brutal, mate. And the fact that you're physically, anyone could get fit to do it if they want to do it. Mentally, that's what makes a difference, I suppose, between the top 1% and the rest of the people. And you are in that bracket, whether you accept that or not. I know you have that deep days, but you've proven time and time again you can do it. And so I hope that you continue to do that. I'd love to see, in a couple of years' time, you absolutely thrive in whatever it is that you're doing, because you seem like a fucking good bloke. And what does the future hold for you? What would you like to do? What is coming up for you?
Yeah, sorry.
No, mate. I hope this resonates with people, and I'm genuinely so grateful that you fucking come on and being like this.
I don't know. Sorry.
No, look, mate. Take a minute, mate. It's absolutely fine.
I don't know what. I don't get.
Look, it's fine, mate. Honestly, I'd love you to keep in touch.
No. I need to get back and find some enjoyment. What I'd like to do, I think I got to stay within sectors which I got a bit of passion about, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just probably got to go a bit easy on myself, but such is the nature of the beast, I guess. And I think health, fitness is probably a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And if I can share that with anybody, then maybe I'll start enjoying again. I don't know.
Look, I've obviously added you. I think you followed back on Twitter, and I've done it on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
On LinkedIn and that as well. If you're on there, if there's anyone, and I'm not just saying this now, if there's anyone that I can introduce you to, because I might not have played at your level, but I do have a good network of people. If there's anyone I can introduce, and I'm not just saying that, you ask Reece Thomas or whatever, I try and keep in touch with people, because I like those people.
Yeah, I've taken a while because I get wary on people, and look, I find it hard to trust anybody anymore. But that's my own hang-ups. But no, I appreciate any help. Clearly, I'm not in a good place.
Yeah.
is what it is, isn't it? You know, so.
I'd love to. I mean, you played in Dubai, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I see you were with Mike, weren't you? With Mike Davis.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, that's it. I was with them before. I was staying out there with him, and
yeah, I was in the bar with you. That's how I met you.
yeah, so yeah, of course. Oh fuck yeah! What was that bar again called now?
I don't know. It was in JLT. It was a nice bar. Oh, yeah. It was a nice.
Yeah,
I've never been there before. I was with the charity side. I was with Rugby World Legends or whatever.
Yeah.
All different charity initiatives for underprivileged kids and stuff. We've done it for disabled kids in Dubai actually, because they don't get recognition at all. But so I was there with Victor and Boog. He invited me over to that bar, and then you were in there with Mike, and I didn't. You know, you were with a couple of people, so I presume you're from Bridgend, I guess.
No. So weirdly, right? I from Plymouth, moved to Cardiff when I was 18, went to Uwick, and Mike played for Bridgend with a couple of my mates, Blumberg and Hancock at Bridgend, and so all my, I don't know if you know, like Chris Dickamidis and Alex Jones.
Yeah, Dickamidis is like a development officer in the schools, isn't he?
That's it. Yeah.
Or Archbishop or whatever it's called.
Soundra, I think, is it?
Oh, they call it something else, Coed Derwin or something.
Oh yeah.
They call it. Yeah, he was at Soundra. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's my group, and Dom Day, like that's my group of mates.
Right, okay.
We were all in uni together.
The CBD thing, didn't he?
Yeah, brilliant. Really well.
What's it called? 5 or CBD 5?
4-5 CBD. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, he's a good guy, Dom, because I was in the Scarlets with him when he first started. And I think, did he go to Japan or something as well?
Yeah, he's had some career, boy. He went Scarlets, Bath, Japan, Melbourne Rebels, Saracens. Like he's done it well.
Yeah, it's good guy. He's a nice chap, and I'm glad that he's doing well and he settled down. So he's a good guy. Yeah, but no, I really appreciate you. I do apologise if I've gone off a bit.
Don't ever apologise, pal. Be unapologetically you, because you've obviously got some fucking great things to give. It must be tough battling your own demons every day, and I'm not going to pretend that I know how you're feeling in this particular time. It's not, about that. But I genuinely keep in touch if I can help in any way.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And hopefully I haven't been too, hang people out to dry or nothing on there. But
no, you haven't. Bloody hell.
Thanks very much for taking the time out to speak to me. And I know hours gone, isn't it? Quick. Yeah,
it flies by. But look, best of luck for your documentary. For anyone listening, if you are feeling that you need a chat or anything, my DM's are always open. I'm probably not the guy who can help you, but I'll be able to put you in touch with people who can. And, I'd rather hear your story than hear about something else, So hopefully, this resonates with a few people and it helps them along the way. Dav, I genuinely appreciate it, mate. Like, keep in touch.
That's nice. Thank you. It's great. It's great to be invited on. And if anybody is struggling, then reach out. But stay well, stay safe, and be kind.
And you, mate. I hope you start enjoying things and find what you're looking for, right, mate?
Catch you later.
You're a top man. Take care, bye.
Bye, mate.